All right. I think I have got this going correctly. Just bear with me here. All right. I'm getting the affirmation and I'm live from the team here. I did a full run through of my video here and realized that I never quite did everything correctly. So I'm doing a kind of round two of this topic here on 5 truths of nature connection. And my name is Daniel Brisbane. I am a mentor, instructor, do YouTube videos here as well at Earth-Based Institute, where wear a few different hats. And I'm also a graduate of our Nature Connected coaching program. Graduated about 7 or 8 years ago. So I've been kind of in this work and working here at Earth-Based Institute for quite some time. And I want to dive into this topic on some of the deep truths and insights that I've learned and experienced personally through my own experience and time spent in nature and through the trainings here at EBI. And I've also witnessed this like firsthand from clients and other students on some of these kind of key aspects or insights of like what we mean here by having a transformational relationship with nature and deep nature connection in a way that a lot of people don't talk about today. So with that being said, I want to share with you just these are just like a few truths here around nature connection. And this is like a topic that we're going to share more about in future videos with you, kind of around what we mean by nature connection and a transformational relationship with nature. But I want to just kind of share a few things that I've learned on my journey that I know will be massively beneficial for you, and that if you integrate or practice and embody some of these truths I share with you the next time you go out into nature and out onto the land, I can guarantee it's going to have a massive impact on what you learn from nature, on how your relationship and time in nature can not just be a nice kind of experience after work or for 30 minutes to an hour during your day, but that changes the trajectory of your life moving forward, which is what we focus on here as nature connected coaches, is how to coach people on creating goals and vision and dreams in their life and making that into a reality, and how nature can be a massive co-guide and collaborator for that experience. So with that being said, I want to share with you some of these 5 truths that I want to share with you here on what it means to be nature connected and how you can start to apply this today. So the first piece is that nature is a teacher. And what I mean by nature being a teacher is that you are nature. Us as human beings, our biology, our minds, our brains, our nervous system was all, evolved and designed through time spent in our environment, on the land, in nature. And so if we are, not separate from nature, but we are a part of it, on a physical level here, that nature is teaching us and showing us so much, because we are and you are a part of the land, and you are not separate from it. And so what nature is showing you through the rocks and the trees, the birds and the animals on the land, the oceans and mountains, the cycles and seasons, all these things are teaching you something. And that when you start to go out with questions such as, what are you showing me? What are you teaching me? You'll start to be able to see that it's not just that nature can be a place to kind of decompress, unwind, even though that's kind of one of the effects that nature has on us, is that it allows your nervous system to come to a more regulated state. But that nature can start to be a source of wisdom and insight into some of the big questions you're holding for yourself. And as coaches, we bring nature in as a co-guide with our clients in this way of, what is nature teaching my client in respect to the goal and vision they're bringing to the table here today. So nature is a teacher. And so starting to think about that for you, like, what is nature teaching you when you go out into your backyard, into the open space or park down the street from where you live? if you go out onto the wilderness or the forest, deep kind of away from society, what is nature teaching you? What is nature showing you through the trees, through the mountains, through the grass, the insects, through the birds in the trees? Start to ask that question. What are you showing me? What are you teaching me? Because what you'll start to see is that nature is a mirror. And what I mean by that is that you have your own inner landscape and wilderness. You have your own experiences through your past memories, through your feelings and sensations and emotions that you're experiencing, through your thoughts and your thinking. You have this huge landscape inside of you that you're always navigating every moment of your life. And that when we go out in nature, it can be a wonderful way to start to see a mirror of what's going on inside of me. And that, like, for example, when I go out, into the nearby park or, into the mountains here in Colorado, that if I'm in a frustrated or anxious state, or I'm overwhelmed, that if I go out into nature, nature's going to mirror that for me. I'm going to start to notice things like, the irritating bugs making lots of noise, or that's really hot outside and it's like I'm getting sweaty from it, and I'm like kind of getting irritated by that. That it's not that nature is doing anything different, but it's rather just always a consistent mirror of what's going on inside of my inner wilderness, my inner landscape. And at the same time, if I go out in nature and I'm feeling alive and connected, energized, joyful, happy, fulfilled, content, that I'm going to see that represented on the land as well. I'm going to see how the trees are in connection with the ground and the grass, and it's creating shelter for the birds and the other animals, and that everything's working cohesively together to support one another. Like, whatever I'm noticing and witnessing in nature is always a mirror of what's going on inside of me. And so that's something for you to think about when you spend time on the land and nature. What is getting amplified inside of you, or what is getting mirrored inside of you out in your environment? Which comes to the third piece here. The nature is a perfect container. And what I mean by that is that it's a perfect container for whatever's going on inside of you. And one thing that we teach and talk about here at EBI is that whatever you've got going on in your life, nature can take it. Maybe there's things going on in your life that you're struggling with. Or maybe there's things that are going well in your life that you want to celebrate, but that nobody else kind of maybe around you cares about it or wants to, join in that celebration. Nature is always there. Nature can contain and hold whatever is, like I said, the struggles, the pain points, the challenges going in your life that you just need to get out of you and vent about, and not to do harm to nature, but to share it with nature, as well as the celebrations and things that you will love and appreciate about what's going on in your life or that's going on in the people's lives around you. Share that with nature. Nature is a perfect container where maybe you don't feel safe or have maybe a support group to share the things going on in your life. Nature is a perfect place to start to build that relationship and that trust. And one of the things that we teach our students here is a practice called tree preaching. And it's literally like going out and share what's going on with yourself and your life with the trees, or a specific tree. And maybe don't try this in a large crowd at first, because it may feel very strange and people might stare at you weird. But maybe somewhere like remote, start to find a place in nature to maybe share what has been going on inside of you that you haven't shared with anyone else, knowing that nature is there to hold that space and is a perfect container for what's going on inside of you and creating transformation and growth. And this is kind of part of what we teach our coaches and our nature connected coaches here at EBI, is like, how can nature be that co-guide and container for your clients' transformation and growth, and whatever that looks like for them. So with that being said, here are three things of what nature is, and some things about what nature can be for you. But here's two things about what nature is not as well. And that is that nature is not judgmental. And kind of going back to this first concept of nature as a teacher, one thing that nature has taught me in my journey and growth and transformation spent on the land in my life is that like the trees are never judging each other. They're never comparing themselves to one another. They're never criticizing themselves like, oh man, I'm not as tall or as, as majestic as this tree next to me. It's like, no, each tree is just trying to be the best version of itself it can be. It's not judging itself or comparing itself. Nothing in nature does that, but yet we as humans are really good at being, critical of ourselves, of judging ourselves and comparing ourselves to other, and like, oh man, this person has more than I do, or this person's better at this skill than I am, and like I'm just not as good or worthy. But yet, there's no value to judgment and criticism. Like there is no growth inside of that, and yet we're so good as humans at putting ourselves in that kind of container there. And so, nature is not judgmental. So how can that translate as a teacher, for you? And that's something I think about for myself every day. Like nature doesn't judge, so why am I judging myself and comparing myself to others, knowing that it's never going to support myself? But rather, how can I, compare myself to who I've been and who I'm becoming? Because when I start to look at myself through that lens, that's empowerment. And nature shows me that a tree is not trying to compare itself to other trees, but only from where it began as a seed to trying to grow as tall and majestically as it can towards its source, which is the sun. And then the other thing is that nature is not a place for escape. And what I mean by not being a place for escape is that a transformational relationship with nature, a deep connection with nature, does not mean going out and avoiding the problems in your life or suppressing what's going on in your day. Maybe like that, you talk you had with your boss at work that really kind of riled you up and upset you. But rather, nature connection is about leaning in, going back to that container piece, leaning in, sharing what's going on for you, not trying to avoid or escape or like kind of going to nature to get away from things going on in your life, but rather going into nature is a perfect place for leaning into the discomfort in your life, leaning into the growth, leaning into your vision, and starting to ask those big questions of, what am I here to build and create? Who am I choosing to become with my time on this planet? What am I here to make of impact and service and support? Why am I here? These questions, nature is that perfect place to go and bring those questions out and see what comes alive from within you. So these are 5 truths that I'm just sharing with you here today on Nature Connection. There's a whole lot more around this topic that we want to share with you, but I want to invite you and encourage you to think about this. How is nature a teacher for you? And what is nature mirroring that's going on inside of you when you spend time on the land? And how is nature a container for the pain that you're experiencing, as well as the joy and celebration that you want to step inside of as well? And that nature doesn't judge. It's not a place for, it doesn't compare or criticize. So, why do we do that? And that, it's a place for leaning in. Rather than trying to avoid the challenges of life, nature's a place to lean into those places and start to maybe look at them through a new lens and see what nature is teaching you inside of that space in your life. So I hope this is helpful. If you want to learn more about this, we've got some links below to check out our website, or if you want to learn how to apply these truths into your personal growth and development, or even if you're curious about becoming a coach and helping others create these outcomes in their life, check out the links below. Reach out to us if you've got questions. I hope this was helpful. We'd love to hear from you on your thoughts and insights. Like, what is nature teaching you when you try on this practice? Share with us. We'd love to hear more about it.